Hey, I'm Matt Porwoll, a documentary cinematographer, and today we're at Brooklynphono in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, and we just wrapped shooting our interview with Thomas. And so this was a really fun interview frame to build, and so I wanted to just walk you through some of the decisions in the craft of coming up with this look for the interview. So here I've got my C300 Mark II that's set up as our A camera, and over here is my B camera, also a Mark II. And in another video, we look at how the camera is built up and some of the decisions going into that build. Let's take a look at our two interview frames that we have set up. So here in our A camera frame, we've decided to go with a super wide frame. And since this is a story about Brooklynphono and the space and the process of pressing vinyl, we wanted to highlight that. And with conversation with the director, we've decided that we are not going to be cutting straight from A camera to B camera as a punctuation point that we would normally do in a documentary. Because this is a short film, we're not going to rely heavily on the interview frame, and so we want to be able to give two distinctive looks so that whenever we cut to one of the two of these frames, we have something that's visually interesting. So what we've done here with the B camera interview frame is we've put Thomas all the way to the right side of the frame speaking to camera right. And this has created kind of an interesting negative space, but it's really a compelling frame and it's something that you want to look at. And it also invokes a lot of curiosity about what he's doing and where he is and what he's talking about. So really excited about how this frame came to be. The first thing is when we walk into the space is we see it with just the natural light or with the overhead lights. And while it looks really good, what we decided to do is we just turned them all off. And a lot of times this is what happens is you look at all the lights and then you start turning them off one by one until you get to the look that you're after. And we kind of did that and sculpted that in this frame. So let me walk you through the different lights that I've got working in this frame. To start, let me just tell you about our key light. So what we've done here is we have a Cineo HS light, and that's going into a book light. And what this is doing is it's a nice soft wrapping light, but we've shifted it off to the side. So it is coming in a little sidier than you might normally do on a standard interview. But this is really nice because we don't have a fill set up. And so the wrappiness of the book light brings it around just enough, but still adds a little bit of contrast and interest to the subject. For a backlight, we've gone with the light panel's Astra, and this is great because it's a dimmable bicolor light, so we're really able to focus it in exactly where we need it. And for the background and for the environment, there's a few different things that are at play here. We've got a Joker 800 that's all the way down deep in the back, and this is kind of blasting through as a little source of daylight that's coming in, and it's raking along the sides of all of our machinery here. And this is really nice to separate them from the background, give them a little pop of color, while still keeping some good mood and contrast in the scene. At each machine workshop, we've decided to help pop those as well with using some gooseneck scorpion lights. And these are little LED spotlights, and we've gelled them with CTO so to warm them up. And these are really great because, I saw when I was working with Thomas at his workstation in some of the verite scenes that there's little tungsten work lamps at each station. And Thomas just uses these when he needs to do some repairs or get inside of the machines. And I really liked, that pop and that intensity of some warm light in the space. So we've decided to mimic that and work it into the visual style with these scorpion lights. Now, because we've turned off all the overheads, this has created a little bit more mood and drama than we might want in this frame. Because while we want it to be, striking and visual, we don't want it to feel like we're in a cave. So we have brought up the ambience a little bit in a couple different places. So over here, we've got a Westcott Flex 1x2, and this is just giving a little bit of lift and as well as some more backlight and separation between the wall and the machines. And then over here, we've got a 1x1 bicolor dimmable light, and this is just giving some general lift to the space. And lastly, I've got a little dado light that's sitting on the floor here that you're only seeing in the A camera wide frame. But what this is doing is we noticed that it was just getting a little dark and losing some information in the corner. And so we decided to use that dado to pop, and it gives some more texture and color information to the frame. So I hope that gives you some nice insight into how we came up with the look and the feel of this interview frame, as well as give you some inspiration for when you're shooting your next interview. I think it's nice to step back and think outside of the box a little bit when you're setting your interview and not have to do things the same way every time, and have fun with the space and find interesting ways to tell your story. So thanks for watching, and please check out some of our other videos that we have on the C300 Mark II.